Everyone, my name is Sino. I'm from South Africa in the Eastern Cape. I'm 21 years old. I'm currently doing an internship at Victory Church as well as studying part-time. So I grew up in I don't know, I wouldn't say a village, but a rural area in the Eastern Cape in the province. And I have four siblings, both parents, and it was really a nice childhood in a sense of it was family orientated and everyone around me loved me. But for some odd reason, at a very young age, I really felt the feeling of purposelessness. And it was weird because no young kid thinks, oh, what am I here to do? You know, there's no worth, there's no value in living life for. But I really just felt like there was no reason to live. And if there was, I wasn't fulfilling it. And so at a very young age, I started being very competitive, started really putting a lot of pressure on myself, mainly because I wanted to be someone great or be something great. And with that came a lot of, again, feeling this pressure, self-inflicted obviously, but feeling this pressure of I need to be the best so that people could love me, so that people around me could look at me and say, whoa, how did you get there? And so at a very young age, from primary school to high school, when things got worse, that would be my default. I'd make sure I'd do great in my academics. I'd make sure that in whatever I did great. And obviously that's a lot of pressure for someone who's like, 14? And when you get into high school, you met with certain expectations where it's how you look, who you're friends with, and what you basically want to be with at the end of your high school career. So with that being said, more pressure came on. And with that, I felt like I needed to be more perfect, and I felt like I needed to be this person who was emotionless, who was constantly living in a world of pretense, who was always perfect. So when everyone asked me how I was doing, I'd just be like, I'm okay, I'm doing great, I'm surviving. Whereas that was not what was happening inside. And I really felt like I was really not being myself through that because of all that pressure and all that time of constantly feeling like I had to be the best. I couldn't actually be who I was and who God had called me to be. So when I ended up in this, I don't want to call it like a roller coaster of emotions, my sister invited me to a youth group. And when I went there that night, I met Jesus. And when I met Jesus, it was like I couldn't pinpoint the feeling. I couldn't pinpoint, oh, this is because that guy spoke that sermon, or it was because this person hugged me. But it was truly because I felt the presence of God. I had never felt anything like that before. And it was beautiful because with that, the pressure fell off. The feeling to be perfect, or the feeling to be like I have to meet certain expectations for someone to love me, fell off. And just to encourage you with that, it's beautiful because you realize that it's grace. Like you don't deserve it. It's unmerited. It's favor, and God has given it to you because He loves you. And that's why He sent His Son Jesus to die for us on the cross in the first place. So with that encounter, I began to go walk on this journey of really just searching, not really searching, but walking it out with Him, and seeing what it looked like to be a child of God, introducing myself to a new way of life, and realizing that my purpose was not in what I did, but who I was called to be by Him, which is His daughter. And it was beautiful to see what I turned out to be. It was always crazy because it was like learning something different about myself every day, and learning something different about who Christ is in me. And with that, I've learned to be an overcomer. I've learned to be victorious. And more than anything, I've learned the beauty of His presence. And with everything that happens in the world and with everything that happens in my life, I've realized that Jesus is the only answer. Jesus will be the only solution from this point and forever. And if we yield our hearts to what He wants to do in our lives, He will definitely do it. And not just so that He can solve this issue for right now. He's not a fix. He's not an antidote. He's not some weird thing we go to when we're not feeling great. He's something or someone who we live with in our everyday life. He's invited Himself into our hearts, and the moment I accepted Him, I realized that something in me had changed, and because of that, I was able to live life differently and live called, not just because of what I do, like I said, but really because of who He called me to be and who He called me out to be. So I want to encourage you that wherever you are, however you're feeling, know that Jesus wants to be around you and wants to be in you because He loves you. And whatever pressures you're facing right now, whatever thoughts that are dominating your mind, let those go because Jesus is worth it, and He will always be the best decision ever.